one and done in this postseason. Is that fact or fiction?
I think it may be a fact, Greeny. Look, they are playing very poorly going into the playoffs. We know that there were forces at work that we can't comprehend that made sure they did not win the NFC East for the second year in a row. But the fact of the matter is they're not playing well on either side of the ball. They're very injured on the offensive side of the ball coming out of that game against the Giants. We don't know exactly who's going to be available for them in terms of wide receiver, etc. I think it sets up badly for them next Monday night.
Jeff Saturday.
We're not that close.
If I said the Rams are the most dangerous team in the NFC, is that fact or fiction?
That's fiction. Are we forgetting about the 49ers? Right? Come on, for real. Like, let's not be biased. I know Orlowski comes on the show a lot and beats the drum. I mean, come on. Let's be the San Francisco 49ers are the best team in the NFC and have been pretty much all season. They got to be the pick.
And then finally, Dominique, if I said the Packers are going to upset their old coach, Mike McCarthy, and knock the Cowboys out on Sunday, is that fact or fiction?
Yeah, I think that's fiction. The Packers have had a very successful season, and as I mentioned earlier, the draft that they've had the last couple of years, like they got a lot of really talented young players outside of the quarterback. They've built a really good team, and they're slightly probably ahead of schedule considering that they moved on from a Hall of Fame quarterback.
So let's talk about them a minute here, okay? Let's dive into this game because the Cowboys finally have everything set up for them. We have discussed ad nauseum how they got the 2 seed in improbable fashion. So the road will go through Dallas until they have to go to San Francisco. To your point, the division winner can never repeat in the NFC East, all of that stuff. But we all know that also styles make fights.
Yes.
The Packers have been playing really well. Their quarterback has been red hot. They're finally getting healthy on the offensive side of the ball. Defense hasn't been as good as we thought it should be. As styles make fights, how does this game shape up?
Not great for the Cowboys, which you wouldn't believe, right? When you think about this team, Jordan Love, to me, is the second best quarterback in the or is playing the second hottest behind Dak Prescott right now.
Yeah.
So as you're looking,
despite the fact that, as I said earlier, he's actually playing the best, and you see the numbers that. Go ahead.
Your numbers are skewed. But anyway, we'll get to all this, right?
Okay.
But the Packers' offensive line, they are dominant in play action. What hurts the Cowboys? Play action. What hurts the Cowboys? The run game. The defense for the Cowboys is going to have to be the difference maker this week against this team. So when you talk about styles, it's not just can they go score points, it's can they limit the Packers. And again, this is not a great match. This isn't the first matchup they would have wanted going into the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, and I think the Packers are playing much better now than they were early in the season as an offense in particular.
Sure.
Aaron Jones in that rushing attack could potentially be a problem. But the Packers still got to play defense. And they were better at it last week, but they haven't been good at defense all season or last season or the season before that. And you know who's really good? Dak Prescott. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb. He's been, as we pointed out, he's probably playing the best. If it wasn't for Lamar Jackson, he'd be the MVP of the league right now. There's no reason to believe that he's not going to be able to do whatever he wants with him and Brandon Cooks.
Green Bay better line up under center every snap. Spend all the clock they can. Do not give the Cowboys offense any chance to go attack. No, this is just a game control thing because you let Dak Prescott see that defense, they can give up a bunch and then they can't catch up. But Jordan Love, as good as well as he's played, they won't be able to match score for score.
Well, so let's live in that a minute here. Let's actually give the fans something to look for. That's going to be one of the glamour games. Look, Cowboys, Packers, I mean, the history there is unbelievable as we look forward to it on Sunday afternoon, giving them stuff to watch for. You're telling me that you think, despite the fact that Jordan Love has been airing it out, you think that they need to have a run the ball control offensive game plan.
It's not just run the ball, it's line up under center, right? Which makes the defense play a certain style that the Cowboys don't want to play in. Then hit play action passes, which does equate to Aaron Jones having to have a good day. But at the end of the day, Dallas is 20th in the league in play action. You line up in shotgun, they're the 4th best defense. It shows you they pin their ears back and they played a completely different style.
It's unfair. Jeff is right, but if you ask Jeff, if you're late for work this morning, how do you solve that? He's going to say run the ball. So the question that answer to every question that you ask Jeff is going to be run the ball. But I do think that reducing the number of possessions is probably a smart idea for the Packers going.
And how do you do that?
Because even though Jordan Love's been good, you give that Cowboys defense a lot more opportunities to make game-changing plays, and they have so many players from DeRon Bland all the way down.
So what do you do?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. So just what I woke up with.
Like, what's your Wordle starter word every morning? Run the ball. Like, that's right. I mean, so look, my concern with the Packers is the same as it's been all year. Young team, inconsistent team. You don't know what you're necessarily going to get one week to the next. and correct me if I'm wrong, right? But playoffs, right? Like the experience of having played in playoff games, can that not make a difference this time of year? I mean, is that the kind of thing? Would you be shocked if you were sitting here on next Monday or Tuesday saying, well, the Packers look like a team that were playing in the playoffs for the first time?
No, I would not be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because of the age. You're right. If it's the youngest team in football, and they
I think
It's nitpicking. I mean, I like what I'm
with
saying.
you.
They're live. I mean, don't get me wrong. They could win the game. I'm just saying if they don't, that could be a reason why.
Well, but sometimes can the reverse be true? Like you want to talk about house money? No team in this postseason is playing with house money more than the Packers are. Go ahead and do it. Aaron Rodgers is home watching, and Jordan Love is in a playoff.
No, sir. They are not on upset alert. Listen, this is one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. They have a big game last week, showed up, played well. I think when you're thinking about Josh Allen, for all the negatives that everybody brings up except for Greeny and all the positives he brings up, he does do more to help this football team. I think with T.J. Watt being injured, that defense is completely different. You can slide to Highsmith, so your protection is going to be solid, and then they're going to make it happen down the field.
Here's the question. So the Bills, since they made the offensive coordinator change, have been an entirely different offense. They have focused heavily on the running game, etc. So for them to make a deep playoff run, I think, with no disrespect, most of us think they should beat Pittsburgh somewhat easily. But for them to make a deep playoff run, will it be because Josh Allen is Superman? Or will it be because he doesn't have to be? Which will it be?
It's going to be because he doesn't have to be. Because the defense, as much as we've been celebrating this offense up until this point, and I'm guilty. I feel like we all owe Sean McDermott an apology because it seemed like he made the right decision in changing the offensive coordinator. And the defense has had a ton of injuries. But the last 5 weeks, they've been among the best in football. And it's not because they're getting a great pass rush. Like that injured secondary is being well coached by Sean McDermott and his staff. And they're playing above their heads. Christian Benford is awesome. I didn't expect that from him. And like this team is great. I think Terrence Johnson is one of the most versatile. He's a cornerback who credibly plays linebackers against 12 personnel. This defense is impressive.
Here you go, Graziano. Here's my read. You ready for this? The Bills are going to keep going the way they've been going. They will take care of business in 2 home games behind this running game and everything else. Then they'll go to Baltimore where everyone says no one can possibly beat them. And that is when Superman puts on the cape. The only way anyone beats Baltimore is because a guy on the other team plays a game that no one would ever beat him. And Josh Allen is capable of that. So I believe they ride everybody else, and then he puts the Superman cape on, and the Bills go to the Super Bowl this year. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's unrealistic to think that you're going to get to the Super Bowl without your star quarterback doing something to elevate in a key moment, right? But fortunately for the Bills, they have a guy that can do that, and we've seen him do that in the postseason. His postseason performance has been consistently excellent. Go back to last week. I would not recommend throwing 2 end zone interceptions in the first half in all of your playoff games, right? Like there are still things to worry about, but they do seem to have found a formula there that has worked. I think at some point they'll need him to make a play, and I would bet on him making it.
Yeah, those were bad turnovers. Yeah. He did have 412 yards of total offense.
And both things can be true.
Most teams not allowed in the playoffs are going to make you pay for those 4 turnovers.
Josh Allen to the Super Bowl. Just remember where you heard that like ninth. Okay, Jeff, are you ready for the pancakes now? You're leaving prematurely.
Let's go.
Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Video ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tô màu bức tranh con cá sông để gửi tặng các bạn. Mình mong rằng các bạn hãy ấn like và ấn đăng ký kênh để ủng hộ mình. Mình cảm ơn các bạn rất là nhiều. Đầu tiên mình sẽ đi chọn màu để tô cho bức tranh của mình bạn ạ. Các bạn hãy theo dõi quá trình mình đi tô màu nhé. Mình cảm ơn các bạn.
lấy cho mình đi quay vlog, lấy cho mình đi quay vlog là mày chán đúng không? Mà mày chán nó buồn lại. Em mình đi quay vlog thật sự.